Have you ever wondered how a seemingly ordinary staff could blossom and bear ripe almonds overnight? This question takes us back to an intriguing narrative in the Book of Numbers, chapter 17. In this chapter, we're introduced to a divine directive given to Moses. God instructs him to gather 12 staffs, one from each leader of the 12 tribes of Israel. Among these staffs, we find Aaron's staff, representing the tribe of Levi. Now, these weren't just any ordinary walking sticks. They were symbols of authority, embodiments of leadership, and representations of the tribes they stood for. However, the peculiarity doesn't end there. God's instructions were quite explicit. Moses was to take these 12 staffs and place them in the tent of the covenant, a sacred space where God's presence dwelled among the Israelites. The purpose of this display? Well, that's where the story gets even more intriguing. God declares that he will make the staff of the man he chooses sprout, hence ending the grumbling of the Israelites against Moses. This was to be a divine sign, a supernatural testimony to God's chosen leader. You see, in the context of the Israelites' journey, there had been some contention about leadership. Who was the rightful leader? Who had God's backing? This divine demonstration was about to answer these questions in a way that left no room for doubt. So Moses, ever the obedient servant, does as instructed. He collects the staffs and places them in the tent of the covenant. The stage was set, the pieces in place, and the Israelites wait with bated breath for the unfolding of this divine demonstration. And in this scene, we can't help but marvel at the intriguing instruction from God to Moses. A challenge, a test, and a promise all rolled into one. So we see a peculiar instruction from God to Moses, setting the stage for a divine demonstration. What could it mean when a dry staff blossoms overnight? This is the question that the 17th chapter of the Book of Numbers poses us. We're talking about an event so miraculous, so unexpected, it could only be the work of divine intervention. Let's explore. You see, Aaron's staff wasn't just any old piece of wood. It was a symbol, a beacon of his divine appointment to the priesthood. But with the people's rebellion and complaints ringing loud, there was a need for a clear, undeniable sign of God's affirmation of Aaron's role. And so, a challenge was set. Each leader of Israel's 12 tribes, Aaron included, was to provide a staff. These were ordinary staffs, devoid of life, dry and barren. They were then placed in the tent of the covenant, under the watchful eye of God. And then something extraordinary happened. Overnight, Aaron's staff alone underwent a transformation so profound, so miraculous, it could only be described as a divine sign. It sprouted, it blossomed, and it produced almonds. Yes, almonds, from a dry, lifeless staff to a thriving, fruit-bearing tree in the span of a single night. This wasn't just nature taking its course. This was a divine intervention, a clear and unmistakable signal from God. He was affirming Aaron's priesthood, silencing the complaints and rebellion of the people with a miraculous sign. Think about it. The almond tree is one of the first to blossom in the spring, a harbinger of new beginnings and renewed life. What better symbol for Aaron's reaffirmed role, for a new beginning for the people of Israel? So you see, the blossoming of Aaron's staff was not just an event, it was a message. It was a demonstration of God's power and his endorsement of Aaron's leadership. It was God's way of saying, "This is my chosen one. His authority is as undeniable as this blossoming staff." Thus, the blossoming of Aaron's staff was no ordinary event, but a divinely orchestrated sign. What do you think was the reaction of the Israelites upon witnessing this miracle? The Israelites found themselves in awe, their hearts pounding with fear and reverence. They had seen the power of God demonstrated through the blossoming of Aaron's staff. This was no ordinary event, it was a divine intervention, a tangible sign of God's authority. Yet this demonstration of power was not met with jubilation, but rather with a profound fear. They were afraid they would perish, that they would die simply for being in the presence of such divine majesty. This fear was not unfounded, it was a natural response to the realization of God's supremacy and the understanding that they were in the presence of the divine. It was a fear that led to a newfound respect for God's chosen leader, Aaron, and a stark reminder of the consequences of rebellion. Aaron's staff was then kept as a sign, a symbol for the rebellious. This was not a sign to be taken lightly. It was a reminder of God's unyielding authority, a visible testament to his power. It was a symbol that served as a warning to those who dared to challenge his chosen leaders. In the broader narrative of the Bible, this event holds significant theological implications. The blossoming staff of Aaron is an emblem of God's ability to bring life from lifelessness, to bring hope where there is despair. It signifies God's unchanging nature, his steadfastness in the face of rebellion and disbelief. It serves as a reminder of his divine authority, his power to choose, and his ability to affirm his chosen ones in miraculous ways. This event was not just about the blossoming of a staff, it was about the affirmation of God's chosen leader, the demonstration of his power, and the silencing of rebellion. It was about the fear and reverence that come from recognizing God's authority. And so, through a single blossoming staff, God reaffirmed his chosen leader and silenced the murmurs of rebellion among the Israelites. Are you ready for the next chapter? Just click here to go straight to it.